Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now we present about the Unmanned Military Army. Before that, we will introduce our group member. My name is Ifan Yahya.
Ismi Muhammad Yusuf.
Ismi Muhammad Aflan Ismail.
Ismi Anas Farhan Muhammad Zain Nasir.
So enjoy our video. Introduction. A drone, in other words called unmanned aerial vehicles (UAVs), are aircraft which are remotely piloted that eliminating the need for a pilot to be on board during a given flight. Drones have an array of uses in everyday life in increasing the scale of the photography or cinematography field. Resonances in the unknown areas and mapping from an aerial view, delivery, transportation in the future as well as the target destination. It also been in rescue mission, forestry conservation and spying enemy territory. They use in the military operator in our focus and drone technology. Our drones can be used for autonomous fight that was instructed by the pre-programmed flight route plan or from the help of the complex automated system. It's a good of the solving conflict and execute the attack to enemies in the war zone for the prison military planners as they are flowing remotely to the drone ranger of the flight crew. They are cross-efficient. They can be acquire information without getting spotted by the enemy, and the pilots flying them are safe and far away from the actual battleground.
Okay, now I will talk about the history of drones. So, when and where the drone was invented and created. Let's look at the poster. History. The earliest recorded utilization of UAV goes back to 1849 when the Australian assaulted the Australian city of Venus utilizing unmanned balloons that were stacked with explosives. So, the first pilotless aircraft were developed after World War I in 1916, shortly after the US Army built the Catering Bug. The first Catering Bug flew in 1918. But the war ended before it could be used. The UAV technological developments, however, continued in 1930s. The US Navy began experimenting with the radio-controlled aircraft, which resulted in the development of Curtiss N2C drone in 1937. Simultaneously, in 1935, the British developed the Queen Bee, the radio-controlled target, which also believed have led to use the term of drone. For unmanned aircraft which are particularly radio controlled. Radioplan or Q2, the remote control aircraft developed by the Reginald Denny during World War II, actually became the first mass-produced UAV protect in the US. Nearly 15,000 drones were manufactured for the army during the war. However, the actual credit for inventing a radio-controlled aircraft that could fly outside goes to Edward M. Sorensen, who patented his invention that could know what the plane is doing from a ground terminal. Without this patent, early RC aircraft could only operate within the visual light of the controlling pilot. Then, even though the US was able to achieve a breakthrough in the mass manufacturing and supplying drone for the military, UAV are considered expensive. This perspective, however, changed after Israel gained victory over Syrian Air Force in 1982 with the minimal loss. The US also began the pioneer UAV program in 1980 to build expensive drone for fleet operation. To build an inexpensive drone, a joint project by US and Israel in 1986 further led to the development of RQ-2, pioneer medium-sized reconnaissance aircraft. While most of the drone fly for military purpose, in 2014, Amazon proposed to the use of UAV to deliver goods. Drones also become a popular component for filming and photography. However, this consumer drones have seen increasing interest not because of military influence. It's actually a result of the merger of two completely different technology, radio-controlled aircraft and smartphones.
Okay, next I will explain the theory. Force and movement on quadcopter. For propeller produce thrust in the direction perpendicular to the plane of rotation of propeller. This thrust is proportional to square of angular velocity of propellers. As a propeller will rotate the create direction, moment y on quadcopter about z-axis. This direction moment is proportional to square of angular velocity of propeller. Thrust produced by opposite pair of propeller producing moment ms and my. This moment is given by difference of force, which is length between two propeller. And the last but not the least, the gravity force, which is always acting in the downward direction. The motion of quadcopter can be analyzed by Newton's second law of motion. Okay, for linear motion, force is equal to mass into acceleration. But for angular motion, moment is equal to inertia into angular acceleration. Let us look some condition of motion of quadcopter. Let's see how the quadcopter hovers in air. As a quadcopter is steady in air, it must be in equilibrium. All the force must be balanced. The total thrust F1, F2, F3 and lastly F4 produced by the propeller must be equal to the weight of quadcopter, and all the moment produced must be zero. The governing equation of the motion in this condition is mr dot dot is equal to 0. In case of a rise motion, the net thrust produced by all the propeller is more than the weight of the quadcopter. This results in output motion of quadcopter, which in Shah's case mr dot dot is greater than 0. Okay, next for the drop motion. The thrust produced by all the propellers must be less than the weight of the quadcopter. Okay, yaw motion. Yaw motion is the rotation of quadcopter in horizontal plane. As I stated earlier, two propellers rotate in clockwise direction and the others two propellers rotating counterclockwise direction. This parallel propeller produce reaction movement in opposite direction. Next, if the reaction movement produced by each propeller pair is equal and opposite, there is no yaw motion. If the reaction movement produced by one pair of propeller is more than moment produced by the other pair of propeller, then there is no resultant moment produced. This causes rotational quadcopter about vertical axis. Okay, next, pitch and roll motion. Pitch and roll motion is a rotation of quadcopter about horizontal axis. In this condition, the opposite pair of propeller produce unequal force, which cause net non-zero moment. This causes rotation of quadcopter about horizontal axis. For linear motion, in horizontal plane, the pitch or roll angle must be non-zero. This causes non-zero component of thrust in horizontal direction. This force causes resultant moment in horizontal plane.
Now, let's move on to its application. So, military utilization of drone has turned into the essential current use. Drones usually are used in situations where manned flight is considered too risky or difficult. They provide troops with a 24-hour eye in the sky 7 days a week. Each aircraft can sky aloft for up to 17 hours at a time, loitering over an area and sending back real-time imagery of activities on the ground. There are many applications of unmanned military aircraft. One of the applications is to protect the lives of the military. The drone will protect their lives with live video remote communication to ground troops, essential gear or weapons. Next application is to spy enemy tracking and force protection to ensure the troops are protected and nobody is moving toward them. Then, drones are an extraordinary device and also a constant perspective of different mission and circumstances, considering leaders to settle on better choice in resource allocation. They are also used to They also used to provide intelligence in battlefield, target decoys for combat mission, research and development, and supervision. In the future, drone also can use as an assassin device in the combat. It also can be used to detect explosive mine. This machine will continue to get smaller, lighter, quieter, with better optic and capabilities. Any place the military can avoid the risk of harming human resources, a drone may have a future in the military that continues to evolve.
A connection between Akli and Nakli. Originally, a drone were created as a military purpose to spy enemy and make attack. Basically, drone created to defend country and homeland from other terrorists and enemy. This is related to Islam, which is acts and force the Muslim to defend their homeland, country and religion from enemy. In Surah Al-Anfal, verse 60, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأعدوا لهم ما استطعتم من قوة ومن رباط الخيل ترحبون به عدو الله وعدوكم وآخرين من دونهم لا تعلمونهم الله يعلمهم وما تنفقوا من شيء في سبيل الله يوفى إليكم وأنتم لا تظلمون صدق الله العظيم. And prepare against them whatever you are able to power and of state of war by which you may terrify the enemy of Allah and your enemy and others beside them whom you do not know, whom Allah know, and whatever you spend in the cause of Allah will be fully repaid to you and you will not be wrong. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forced the Muslim to jihad for religious and homeland and country from the enemy whatever you are able of power, which means to fight against with all your abilities. Thank you.
وخلاصة القول من الواضح أن تكنولوجيا الطائرات بدون طيار جزء منهم من المستقبل الحربي ومن المقرر أن تصبح صناعة تجارية كبيرة أصبح التشريع على الطائرات بدون طيار الآن ذو أهمية قصوى لأنه يضع القيود اللازمة لحماية الحقوق حيث يتم استخدام الطائرات بدون طيار في المستقبل. أصبحت الطائرات بدون طيارات ضرورية لأمن الناس في جميع أنحاء العالم مع القيود المناسبة. يمكن أن تصبح أداة مفيدة دون التعدي على المبادئ التي بنيت على الأمة أو حقوق مواطني الدول الأجنبية.